Oh, how the mighty have fallen. This is the Concept 1B, a Tier 10 American heavy tank that features mobility, damage per minute, accuracy, incredible turret armor, and great gun depression. When you add all those things together, it creates a super devastating tank on the battlefield that can not only rival mediums, but also heavies, and fight both of them quite easily. It really is almost an ambidextrous tank. When it was first released, it was, at least in my eyes, one of the most overpowered Tier 10s to ever be released, kind of up there with the T-22 medium, although the only difference between the Concept and the T-22 is that this tank you actually had to understand how to play, where the T-22 usually benefited people that just went, nah. So there's a difference there. Now, we can see this correlation in statistics if we take a look at the current and previous stats. For example, this is the Concept 1B performing 4th best in Update 9.0. I should also point out that the 268 version 4 is a testing tank at this time, so ignore the V4. What we can see is that the Concept 1B is doing 3rd best on the list if we take out the V4, and the IS-4 and IS-7 are the only tanks doing better, which makes sense, because, yeah, you can be a 65%er, but it doesn't mean that vehicles like the IS-7 and IS-4 aren't going to last you longer, especially if you make a mistake here or there. So it makes sense to me. Those two tanks are ahead. It's just always common to see the easiest tanks to drive doing the best. But the Concept 1B in 3rd place for the tank and playstyle that it features showcases just how powerful the vehicle was, and this was still quite a while after the tank was released, as I said, Update 9.0. If we fast forward to just a couple updates ago, which is 9.7, we can see how the Concept's currently performing with the same set of range. Well, it's not here. We can see the 113, IS-7, IS-4. Makes sense that, again, the IS-7 and IS-4 are there. 113 got a massive buff in 9.2. The 5's there, Super Conch, Type 71, STB, E100, VK72, Minnow, Patton, 62A, T57 Heavy 60, TP, 5051, YAG, 4202, E50M, the M6 Show, and the AMX 50B. What this proves, just right here, is that the Concept 1B is not even close to being an overpowered vehicle. When it was previously performing the top 3 tanks in Tier 10, it is now not making it into the top 20 tanks. And judging that Tier 10 has about 50 plus tanks, yeah, that means it's probably about smack dab in the middle for performance. And once again, as I said, this isn't for average players, this is for 65% players. So yeah, what the heck happened to this vehicle? And hopefully in today's video I'll be able to describe, at least in my beliefs, why the Concept and a lot of tanks that are or were very solid have definitely fallen behind. Now, the real argument is just power creep. There's a lot of people out there that always try and say, oh, it's because the Concept's upper plate got nerfed. And sure, I guess that hurt it a little. The Concept was never about the upper plate. It's about the turret armor. If you sit the tank hull down on a ridge, you're not going to be penned. That's the whole point of the Concept. And that's what made it so strong for dealing with a lot of situations, is you could just plant it hull down, use your good DPM, and whittle down your opponents. However, after Update 9.2, a lot of things changed, specifically every other tank. I've said this in the past, and it's one thing I really dislike about wargaming, and it's the fact they do not understand how to balance their game. For example, instead of making every tank good and trying to balance them all to be quite compatible against each other, what they end up doing is saying, okay, these are the tanks that we want to change. We're going to make these specific tanks way stronger, and we're going to leave the vehicles that we're not changing way behind. And that's what they did. So a vehicle like the Concept, which was considered overpowered, didn't get a change. In fact, I think it just got a little bit of a nerf, because that was when they nerfed the upper plate, and because of that, they basically just made the Concept worse. Everything else got better, and this tank stayed the same. And when I mean everything else got better, I mean everything else got a lot better. You freaking saw the YAG in the top 20 performing tanks. The 113 in the top 20. The 113 was a vehicle that was never even heard of in the top 20 because of the fact it was so slow on Traverse. And then Wargaming said, you know what? Nah, let's just buff the Traverse, but keep the DPM and everything else exactly the same, but make its dispersion slightly worse, but still fine. And that's what they did for the majority of heavies. The 57 heavy, they said, let's keep the DPM ridiculously high, but let's, you know, nerf the accuracy just a teeny bit, because that's really gonna hurt the tank, you know? Oh boy. And that's kind of why the concept has fallen very far behind. It has really good DPM, but DPM doesn't mean a whole lot when you're only dealing 380 damage a slap, and half the time your shells do that. We're already down a TVP, which is actually insane to think about, that you can be down a tank that fast in the battle. My T-57 Heavy is pushing me out in the open, and, oh, I was going to say lost me a lot of health, but thankfully he actually managed to not lose me any health. Oh boy, those rolls! Oh, that is not all too good right now. Alright, well, let's see. We got the 183 off to the side. Let's get a shell into him. Our 57 Heavy's trying to clip that E4, and he did get some big ol' bonks in, so I'll give him some credit. He's not doing all too bad. We got the 60. And, I mean, you can see we're getting out damage, but it's not much. I mean, yeah, we're up to 2,300, but we haven't really done too much to the enemy, you know? Like, we've still lost a TVP. We've still lost a 113, and yeah, as of right now, we are still losing this battle. It doesn't matter how much I deal as of this point in the game, our team is not doing all too great. We did get a nice shell into the enemy, 183, but now I've got to hope that my T-57 Heavy doesn't die, which he is. He's just sitting out in the open and dying. So once again, I'm trying to deal as much damage as I possibly can in the concept, but because my teammates are so consistent in wanting to die, that's all they can do right now. The only reason we're actually doing well in this tank is because, for some reason, the enemy just hasn't pushed us, and the one that did instantly died. Interesting. Oh well, we're fine. I mean, this is an odd battle. I don't know why that Sheridan keeps poking me. That's the part that's weirding me out. But either way, this is a great game to really showcase where your team has no clue what they're doing half the time. And you can lose a 113 and a TVP within the first couple seconds of a battle and not really have much impact on what actually happened. And it doesn't matter, obviously, how skilled you are when you lose a tank like that. I know I'm kind of just rambling, it sounds like, at least, but that is the major problem with vehicles like the Concept that use a cyclic gun, is that when they shoot single shell, only 380 damage a shot, they get stuck in these situations where if your team YOLOs and you can't make a big enough impact in that time, and the fact that Wargaming's made so many tanks able to YOLO, you just lose. That's what ends up happening a lot of the time. Thankfully, the game we played, the Sheridan, for some reason, went heavy side. The majority of their tanks were actually too scared to rush. If that 4005, 183, T-57 Heavy, and Sheridan all just pushed, and the E4 and 60 just literally pushed heavy side, we would have instantly lost that. But that's what happens sometimes. That's when the Concept is great. When you have a team like that, where they allow you to sit there and just keep on farming and farming. But as you saw, my team did the exact opposite of their team. They YOLO'd for no reason. And that's, as I said, the main problem with the Concept is when you get teammates that do YOLO like that, but you can't make a big enough impact personally to counteract that. If you have a teammate that YOLO's in a TVP and you're in, let's say, a 4005, even if they die, they might still take 1,000 off somebody, and with your clip, that person's dead. But if it's the other way around and you're in a vehicle like a Concept and you deal 380 a shot, and your TVP YOLOs and they get 1,000 out, you pen one shell into the guy, and then he's starting to shoot at you already. So you can imagine how it doesn't work out too well. It's also the fact, if you YOLO, let's say you're a not great player and you decide, I'm in an E50M, I'm going to full speed into the enemy team. Now, because autoloaders have more shells, they deal more damage in their clips, it also means that those tanks die a lot faster, which is obviously not good if you want your teammates to stay alive as long as possible. Alright, well, we got the bat chat, and we were able to get a nice little slap into. I wanted to back up, but unfortunately my FE2 and 5B said, no, you're not going to back up. You're going to sit right where you are and be stuck there. So that sucks. For me, specifically. I'm going to pull forward so that 60 can't shoot me, because I don't really want to deal with that. That doesn't sound all too fun. I'm going to be real. Let's see if we can get a shell into the 60. There you go. Nice slap. Right now, I'm being most cautious of that bat chat, because I'm not exactly sure what it's planning on doing. We also got the Waffenträger over here. There you go, nice bounce. You can see where the tank does okay again. This is where that gun allows it to be super solid at just holding. We got the bat chat, who we Bounced. Thank you, Wargaming. I love accuracy. It makes so much sense. In the way that it makes literally 0 sense. I'm alone. I'm being pushed by a Yo, and this here... Ah! Okay, Wargaming. Thank you. This is a perfect example. This right here is the best example I can actually give you of why the concept falls apart. Because in this situation, I have no support from my team. I'm trying to hold 2 autoloaders, and I can't. I just simply don't deal the damage to hold them. And that's the problem. There you go. At least, I don't know if this guy's... What is he doing? Bro. Okay. Anyway. Welcome to Blitz, where your teammates, Is he trying to block me? Yes, of course he is. Of course. No, you're not blocking me. I would rather die than be blocked. Being blocked is so irritating. I don't even know if he's blocking me. I think he was just... I think he was trying to take shots at me, but in the worst way possible. Oh well. We're still alive, and we're getting some shells out. But... did you see how quick I lost that health this game? I went from very healthy, from a single Yo YOLOing me and bringing me down to a one-shot for him if he just high rolls me slightly. It's a great example of where, yeah, the concept, it just doesn't have that potential anymore. I don't know if the Yo was out when the concept was released. I think it may have been, but I'm not 100% certain on that. Oh, I got stuck on a rock there. But, yeah, overall, I still think the concept is really good. It's a great tank. It's got the ability to deal damage, it's got mobility, it's got hull-down capabilities, and for comp, it's a great tank. I still don't get why teams don't use this vehicle more in comp. All the argument I hear is reactive armor. But still, overall, I can't really say bad about the concept, and there is nothing bad about the tank. Oh, it is a great vehicle. It's just the fact that every other tank's become so ungodly powerful. It's not as good as it used to be. I like the tank. I think it's fun. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about the concept 1B. As I said, this is not a rant about the tank needing a buff. It's just saying that Wargaming doesn't really understand the matchmaker all too much. They change tanks that don't need changing. They make tanks like the 57 Heavy stronger. They make tanks like the Yo have stupid clipping guns that make tanks like the concept useless when they can just out-trade you every time you poke. I don't know. It's annoying, but that's the way I see the game heading, is more alpha. We've already seen the E3 get an alpha buff. We've seen the Object 268 get an alpha buff. Everything is getting buffed and buffed on alpha and damage per minute. And then when vehicles get left behind, that's when it hurts them. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.